Definitely very interesting twist in the Dr. Disrespect saga. Many people had kind of written him off after he issued a statement essentially admitting to the things that he was being accused of. Dr. Disrespect was easily one of the top two or three live streamers on YouTube, one of the top live streamers on Twitch before his ban, with his unique persona and high energy streams. Many people really enjoyed his streams, and I became a fan of him many years ago. And I've tried to remain objective and hold out hope for, specificity on certain conversations that were happening. I think now at this point, there were claims he admitted were true, that he was talking to somebody he shouldn't have been. That for a lot of people was kind of it. Now it appears he is claiming, or at least the media is claiming, that his confession was just bait. I don't know what to believe about this, but we're going to check this out. First, we'll look at Dexerto's coverage. Dr. Disrespect has been bleeding numbers as he prepares for his big streaming return. That's to be expected. Obviously, there are a lot of people that draw a line in the sand, and it's hard for me to argue with them, obviously, for saying, hey, you talk to somebody who is 17 or something like that. When you're 35, that's gross. I'm out. And I think that that's obviously very valid. Dr. Disrespect went on vacation after admitting he had sent inappropriate messages to somebody that he shouldn't have back in June. By the way, this had happened, I think, back in 2016, almost 10 years ago. He has not returned to YouTube since. Well, YouTube has demonetized him completely. Now that he's preparing a polarizing comeback, we've looked to see the numbers, to see the scale of the challenges ahead. The self-proclaimed face of Twitch was banned from the platform, in 2020, not 2016, with no reason made public. He moved his streams over to YouTube, where many of his loyal viewers tuned in. In the years that followed, he claimed the mystique around the ban cost him major sponsorship deals such as Nike, and it was only in March 2024 that he revealed he had turned down an eye-watering $10 million deal to move to Kick. I wonder if he's kicking himself over that. Dr. Disrespect was accused by a former Twitch staff of sending messages to somebody that he shouldn't have. Contractually, no wrongdoing was ever admitted, no charges were filed, no arrests were made. My guess is he was engaged in some conversation that was, while inappropriate, not illegal. Plenty for people to decide to jump ship. He said, were there Twitch whispers sent with an individual that there shouldn't have been back in 2017? The answer is yes. Were there real intentions behind the messages? The answers are absolutely not. They were casual, mutual conversations that sometimes lean too much in the direction of being inappropriate, but nothing more. My position has been, if that's the case, if it's just some cringy locker room talk or some weird, jokes or something like that, then he should release the messages, right? I've remained steadfast in saying that long-term redemption probably begins with him releasing the messages. If they were just some cringy jokes that are embarrassing for him, but ultimately locker room talk or jokes, I think he could probably salvage his reputation. If they were way over the line and very specific and on the worst side of things, that would probably be the end of it. But we can see, running the numbers, YouTube, the primary platform, in the last 30 days, he's dropped 20,000 subscribers at a rate of 600 per day. That works over 5,000 a week. And during the worst part of the controversy, it was over 70,000 people that walked away from his channel. One thing to mention here is that he has not streamed a single minute since going on vacation back at the end of June, causing views to drop 68%. Whether or not new live streams would boost those numbers remains to be seen, but it's a trend that he will likely break. Dox has been using X as his way of promoting his potential return so far. His teaser racked up 114,000 likes and nearly 53 million views, which is a huge amount of exposure for his account of 2.5 million followers. Now, if you look at Dr. Disrespect on Twitter, ultimately the question will be, 115,000 likes. The Twitch ban one was 133,000 likes. Does everybody who likes something agree with him? No, but does it mean, he still has an audience out there? I'm going to guess the answer is actually yes. Again, I would say if he, it seems like he's, gaining thousands of followers on Thursday, thousands of followers on Friday. He hasn't really lost many people on Twitter. So it'll be interesting to see. I guess he lost 8,000 followers and he lost 20,000, but he was losing followers even before that. He's not really a Twitter guy. But now there's an article that says, this from Paul Tassi, new Dr. Disrespect comeback promo implies his confession tweet was bait. What? I'm not sure I've ever seen anything like this, and I have borne witness to plenty of scandals involving plenty of high-profile figures, but after streamer Dr. Disrespect admitted to inappropriately contacting somebody he shouldn't have, which led to his infamous Twitch ban, you might have imagined that was it for him. Now something truly bizarre is happening, where Dr. Disrespect is now posting content that indicates some sort of comeback plan, and now he seems to be implying that his confession, which remains posted on his page, was bait. I mean, I don't know if you thought he was going to stop streaming. He's one of the largest streamers in the world. I would strongly suspect that, of course he's going to continue streaming. He wasn't banned. YouTube didn't ban him. He wasn't arrested. He didn't break any laws. There's going to be people that say, hey, that's too much for me. I held on to hope, and I still hope that the messages just weren't that crazy and that he was going through a cringy, addictive period of time in his life, and he can just move forward from it. For a lot of people, they're saying, hey, you contacted somebody that was too young, I'm out completely. And I think that that's a fine position to have. But then that begs the question, what do you expect the guy to do? I mean, just never stream again? Well, he hasn't been banned. I don't think he would be banned. I don't think Rumble would ban him. I don't think Kick would ban him because he didn't break the law. As far as we know, there were never any charges filed. The person that he was talking to never came out and said, oh, it was worse than you thought, or yes, we met up, or, did he know that they were underage? Maybe they didn't know that they were underage. You don't know. There's still some wiggle room in, whether or not he, how bad it really was. Now, being completely demonetized on YouTube, I don't know how he would make a living streaming, but I suppose. His new header image on Twitter features a torn up piece of paper with the confession tweet in question on it. As a reminder, it reads, yes, we talked to somebody, nothing illegal happened, no pictures were shared, no crimes were committed, I never even met the individual. The new image features a torn up tweet submerged as what can only be described as a literal representation of bait. Previously, Doc posted an image of him playing chess. On one side of the board, on the other side was playing checkers. Usually it's an indication that the chess player is smarter than the other player and has some sort of unseen master plan. I've been asked why I keep giving, quote, attention to Dr. Disrespect in the wake of all this, and the answer was previously that he was one of the biggest streamers in the world with a huge fan base. That was a big deal, but now an additional component is this is very disturbing. We've seen tearful apologies and long roads to forgiveness, if it ever happens, in situations when public figures like this. In contrast, Doc, despite losing his Twitch account, has sponsors his game studio and fellow streamers, is attempting to return without ever approaching an apology, never breaking character, and he does so. Now implying that the tweet was some sort of game, a trick. This is deeply weird. It's not even like he's denying the claims. They're no longer claims because he actually admitted it. He and some portion of his fan base seem to think it's not a big deal, as nothing happened, and he wasn't arrested, but the idea that he would both return and now his confession was bait is unsettling. As what exactly is he trying to say here? I cannot think of anything that makes any amount of sense. You tricked everyone into thinking you inappropriately contacted somebody you shouldn't have because what? I don't know. It is a bold strategy, but I don't know exactly what people are supposed to do. People calling him a P word. I think that I don't think there's any real evidence of that. I'm not going to die on the hill. Like adults should not be having these type of conversations with people who are young. Obviously, that's not up for debate. But what's interesting to me is this is a weird position. I don't know off the top of my head any other situation that have ever existed like this. I think if he comes back, people can watch him. People don't have to watch him. I think obviously you're going to have a bunch of people in the chat saying that he's a P word or a creep or this, that, and the other thing in the chat. I'm assuming they'll all be banned and he'll come back to some level of the same number of people that he had before. I think he was doing like 30, 40, 50,000. I would not be surprised if 20, 30,000 people come back as regular viewers. You know, I don't know. It's weird. You know, a lot of people have a lot of opinions about him who never watched him anyway. Again, like I said, I'm a longtime viewer of Dr. Disrespect, so my position is always to constantly hope that it wasn't as bad as people think, and people that don't like him are just automatically saying it's worse than anyone could ever imagine. The truth is it's probably in the middle, but the reason YouTube didn't ban him, and the reason that none of these other platforms have banned him means there's probably not as bad as most people think. I think a lot of people that have done a lot of bad things, should be given a second chance. I'm hoping I just keep hoping it was some goofy locker room talk, and I have no evidence to the contrary. Will I be tuning in? Well, that remains to be seen. I'll certainly be seeing how people react. What do you think? You think that you can see the picture with the confession here ripped up and it's hooked up to the bobber? Maybe he doesn't mean it's bait. Maybe he just means it's ripped up and thrown in the river and he's moving forward. I don't know. I think if you're a Christian, you have to believe people are able to be redeemed. And so it'll be interesting to see if Doc does come back, what the reaction will be. Now would probably be a good time, given everyone's talking about Mr. Beast. I hope you enjoyed this segment. If you did, make sure you leave a like on it. If you haven't yet, please do subscribe or follow down below. We'll talk to you again real soon.